Hello everyone, today I will tell you about the movie 9 in the list of the dead. The owner of the strip bar Sally leaves the establishment heading home. On the street, a car blocks the guy's way. In the next scene, a stranger grabs a bag. Behind the stun grenades, a group of people comes out of the building. When two men stop, they are attacked by a stranger, using pepper spray against one and knocking out two with a stun gun. Returning to his room, the kidnapper loads the gun. Having dinner at the diner, Coogan watches the news about the abductions of 4 people, unknown in a mask. And at this time, the kidnapper looks at the guy's personal file, sitting in the car next to the same diner following Quan. The stranger loses sight of him, but he himself runs up to a car with a request to get out of it, threatening a masked man with a knife. Coogan gets 2 positive charge by losing consciousness. In the following frames, the stranger is again sitting in his little room cutting out some kind of symbol on the bullet. Having finished with this, the stranger drives up to the guy who just left the bar. Kelly, assistant prosecutor, heading to his car in the parking lot, discusses kidnapping by phone. When the girl approaches her car, a masked man stops near her. In the next scene, we are shown 9 people tied to pipes in some room. The masked man removes the bags from everyone, also tearing off the tape with which the mouths are sealed. The masked man, he explains to his captives that he is gathered here for one purpose. That's what they themselves have to guess. But the man in the mask, he promises to come back here every 10 minutes and kill one of the prisoners until they either guess or it won't end. If the prisoners guess the reason why here are there, he will free everyone, not to inform the police about their whereabouts. And scattering colored crayons on the floor of a masked man, he's leaving. Activating the timer, I release one hand as a prisoner. Lion is a dark-skinned guy who believes that the masked man is a policeman. In his opinion, they are all confessing to some crimes now, and the police will write it all down and put them in jail. However, not everyone shares Len's opinion. According to the priest, the masked man wants them to confess to some terrible crimes. Before the time expires, the prisoners get acquainted by telling who they work with. Kelly is an assistant prosecutor, so the woman has more than enough enemies. Christian and Sally had already met once, and after all, Sally is connected with the mafia, and Christian borrowed money from him to resell dope. Among the captives was an Asian woman who does not speak English, who is generally incomprehensibly connected with the abducted. Coogan suggests that the masked man will take one of the prisoners out the door and shoot into the air so that the others will think that he shot a man. However, Jackson the policeman does not think so. As soon as the timer expires, a masked man enters the room, whispering Christian on the ear of the reason for the abduction, and kills a guy with a pistol shot. The timer starts again, which means that after 10 minutes there may already be 7 prisoners left. And because of the conversation, it becomes known that Coogan just got out of prison where he got for car theft. When asked by Kelly to tell about himself, Lion confesses that he robbed houses. There is a masked man in the next room. He watches the prisoners through the cameras, scratches the next character on the next bullet. In the cell, Leon comes up with a brilliant idea. Sitting on the floor, the guy asks Sally to break his fists with kicks, which will allow him to free himself from the handcuffs. The policeman advises Leon to hide behind the door, and when he enters, then push him towards them. They will deal with the criminal in a crowd, but Leon has his own plans in this regard. The guy just leaves the prisoners and goes outside. Behind one of the doors, Leon stumbles upon a masked man who is being beaten by taking a gun from him. Leon had only 1 bullet in his pistol, and the second one had 6 in his revolver. Leon rushes to run, but the bullets are much faster. The kidnapper drags the body of the still alive Leon into the cell. Then he approaches the hijacking, whispered in his ear the reason a masked man is cracking down on a pervert. At the exit, the maniac warns that in 10 minutes Lion will be next. An Asian woman is suddenly recognized. Kelly, assistant prosecutor, she draws on a stick on that Kelly admits that she has warned them for a very long time, but then remembers the Asian woman calling her by name. It turned out that the Asian woman was working in a shop when he was attacked. The Asian robber identified the attacker, and Kelly put him behind bars. She even remembered the bastard's name, a certain Wade Grill, but something in common to unite them, all with that criminal prisoners to find. They can't. Lion repents of what he did, and he admitted that he did not want to run away. His goal was to deal with the masked man and free the others. After 10 minutes, a masked man appears in the cell, pointing a gun at Leon. When the maniac comes out and drags the guy's body away, The priest admits that he seems to have guessed why he is here, but the priest refuses to disclose the details, explaining that he made a promise to God. Don't tell anyone. Eddie asks everyone to confess to their crimes, as there is very little time left. According to Sally, one day an old man beat him in front of the guys. Sally could not forgive this, so at night he visited the old man in a pawn shop, throwing fire cocktails at him. Only Sally didn't know that the old man lived in an apartment above the pawn shops. The priest, listening to all this nonsense, snorts. Now they know for sure that the priest knows the reason why they are all here. It comes to them that one of them once went to confession to a minister, from there to the Father, and that's it is known by the method of elimination. It turns out that it was Christian, the first deceased. The guys realized that it was Christian who was the robber of the Asian woman's shop, and Kelly put the wrong guy behind bars. The logical thinking of this group leads to the fact that Christian, after leaving prison, robbed an Asian woman's shop to pay off Sally's debts. When the maniac enters, Sally starts shouting at him until he points a gun at him. However, according to the killer, it's Eddie's turn now and not Sally's. During the shot, the priest rushes under the bullet. The killer points the gun at Eddie, but Jackson reminds the words of a maniac in that there's only one body every 10 minutes. Their logical thinking again builds a chain in which, after prison, Christian bought a gun from Leon with whom he robbed an Asian woman, which in turn identified the wrong guy instead, Christina. But how are Maddie related to this? Jackson is a cop. While they argue for 10 minutes, a masked man appears in the cell with a piece of paper on which it is written in hieroglyphs the reason for the Asian woman whose turn is next. Kelly says, "I'm a mother hoping for regret from the killer only." That's according to the masked man. Kelly's baby is being looked after by babysitters all the time, while Kelly is hanging out with different men, revealing the details of Kelly's crime. And Jackson's prosecutor admits to falsifying the Grail case. The guy was caught far from the Asian woman's shop, but according to the description he was perfect. Besides, he didn't have an alibi. But you need solid evidence to put the guy away, and not the testimony of an old Asian woman, especially since Kelly's reputation was at stake. So she substituted a clump of hair that an Asian woman pulled out from Christian on the hair grill. When a masked man appears, the remaining captives decide that he is Grail's father, as he began to get noticeably nervous the last time Kelly was hiding behind her child. And this time the killer takes a shot at Sally. The next 10 minutes, Eddie, noticing the blood on his sweater, tells the following assumption. Before the masked man shot Coogan, he asked everyone to move away so that the others wouldn't accidentally get hurt, and Jackson believes that it was about a bullet that could take off and hit someone else. But Eddie thinks otherwise. In his opinion, Coogan could be sick with AIDS. Christian gets out of prison, buys a gun from Leon with which he robs an Asian woman. She incorrectly identifies the criminal, and Kelly, with the help of Jackson, falsifies evidence. The priest, at Christian's confession, finds out about the robbery, but does not tell anyone anything. Grill is arrested, where Coogan seduces him in prison by infecting him with AIDS. At the same time, she was testing an experimental drug for AIDS, and Eddie, being an insurance agent, rejected Grail's candidacy from participating in the experiment, thereby putting a fat end to his death. This is exactly what Eddie tells the masked man, guessing the reason for their abduction, although before that, they had already said that they consider the reason for their appearance here to be Wade Grail, the son of the masked man. Apparently the killers needed a more detailed answer. The masked man, as promised, attracts Kelly's key so that she can free herself and the others, but Kelly pounces on the killer, snatching both guns from him. Kelly is afraid that the masked man will tell the police about everything. That's why he shoots. This dangers Kelly into him. And then in Jackson, the masked man had a bulletproof vest so he was not injured. Having risen, he says that there are cameras everywhere that broadcast what is happening live. But this does not stop Kelly hearing the voices of the police officers who arrived. Kelly quietly disappears. The movie ends. Bye for everyone.